It's time for part 3 of our fantasy football PPR mock draft. This time we're going to show you what it's like to draft from the late spots 11 and 12. Check out our other videos if you want to see our strategy from the early and the middle part of the rounds. And if you want to join in on our mock drafts live with us, every Tuesday, Thursday, we're hosting mock drafts throughout the offseason. That's right, all the way up until the season begins. Check out that link in the description below, and you can join us for some live draft action. But let's get to it. We're going to talk about what it's like to draft with the 11 and 12 spot at the end. It's not necessarily where you want to be, but sometimes it happens. You don't always get to control where you pick from. So let's get to it. Chris, no surprise, the beginning of the draft here is pretty much all running backs with one exception.
Yeah, well, there's two exceptions. There have been two wide receivers, but yeah, it's getting thin at running back, and that's why when I draft late like this, I generally don't take a running back, because you're passing up on the wide receiver 3 for the running back 10 or whatever it might be. So I'm gonna go with my number 3 wide receiver, and that is DK Metcalf.
Wow, I'm a little surprised. I mean, you, of course, I've for years now called you Mr. Zero RB. You're a fan of the strategy, but still, even in this point, is it because now, I'm a huge fan of Metcalf, obviously, but is it because you think that you can get whatever running back you want still on the way back? You're not worried about me taking them both? Or you just think that the difference between Metcalf and the other receivers is that much more than the running backs that are remaining?
It's just that I think Metcalf is that much better than the running backs that are on the board. So am I gonna sacrifice, like I said, a top 3 wide receiver, to get potentially the 10th running back off the board? I just don't think it's worth it. I can take a running back when it comes back around who's generally the same as the running back I passed on, or I can even go with a 0 RB draft and get running backs later. That's generally my strategy in late position.
All right, so there you go. This is definitely the spot to do it if you're going 0 RB. Now, here's the thing. I'm not hell-bent on taking 2 running backs here. I'm at the 12th spot. It's hard to say any of these guys really jumps out as a definite first-round value. A lot of people high on James Robinson, but I'm not. Joe Mixon, I know you have more faith in him than I do. I like Aaron Jones, but we don't know where he's going to play next year. There's some question marks with all of these guys. I'm going to do a lot of these drafts, and I think it's a smart move, is I'm going to strike first at tight end. I'm just going to secure Travis Kelce. I'm going to get that elite tight end, even if it's not a tight end premium league. I think it's just that important. And I know at the 12th spot, there's no chance if I wait that he's going to be back available. Him or Kittle, they're not going to be available by the time it gets back to me in the 3rd, 4th round. But now I am going to take a running back. So the question is who? Who do you have the most faith in at this point? Well, I think you know who I like the best. Even though I'm big on DeAndre Swift this year, I know Austin Eckler is a solid pick here, but it's got to be Cam Akers, right?
For you, yes, I think so. So I was gonna take Kelce if he made it back to me, but obviously he did not. So I'm gonna take another wide receiver. It's cool. I could take Eckler here, and if I don't take Eckler here, I'm probably in trouble. I'm gonna forgo my 0 running back roots, and I'm gonna take Eckler here, because if I don't take Eckler there, I'm probably not getting a running back in the first 4 or 5 rounds. Even though it was really tempting for me to take Stephon Diggs right there.
And that's the thing. When you're drafting at the end here, basically, if you go 0 RB, you have to go full 0 RB, because there won't be anybody close to the RB1 type available in the 3rd round even, because they're just going out. Now, of course, we see a little run here on wide receivers, but still, a lot of these running backs left have question marks. So what are you looking at now?
Well, now definitely wide receiver. Somehow Stephon Diggs almost made it back to me, which I don't think is going to happen in a lot of drafts. I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley here. I think he's underrated. He's a top 10 wide receiver, and people aren't really drafting him that way. I'm gonna go Calvin Ridley.
All right, so far, we'll see what you do next. Kind of a single RB approach, which I think is almost the way to go, depending on where you draft. You take that one really solid top 10 guy if you can, and then you load up at the other positions. Now, I have a tight end already. You know what? If I'm not taking a chance on a rookie like Najee Harris or Travis Etienne, I'm waiting on running back. But look at the values left at wide receiver. You got guys who probably will be franchised like Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Of course, Justin Jefferson. I don't think I can pass on Justin Jefferson here. I think I'm going to take him. And then I do also like Chris Carson, but is he beginning of the 4th round value? Can I get one of these other rookies? Yeah, I think so. I'd rather take a guy I have a lot of faith in. Actually, you know what? I got 3 receivers I'm thinking about. Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, and Kenny Golladay. With Jared Goff in Detroit, I think I wouldn't take Golladay out of that group, assuming he gets franchised, which they're talking about. Keenan Allen is kind of that safe pick, but I really feel if the Bears make a big move at quarterback, Allen Robinson, well, assuming he's still a Bear, he could post even better numbers than usual. So I'm going with A-Rob.
Yeah, I like those 2 picks. So me here, it's basically for me, it's between Keenan Allen or Darren Waller. It's just, do I want to go tight end earlier, or do I want to wait a little bit and try to get Fant, who's a guy I like to get if I wait. But just given the amount of wide receivers that I like, I think I'm going to go Darren Waller here. Get that top 3 tight end.
There you go. I think it's just so important these days. We just see there are some guys who could break out, Fant, Gesicki, some of those guys. But, man, what you're getting with Waller. If you can get 1,000 yards for sure from your tight end position, I say for sure, but pretty sure. That's definitely a good foundation.
Yeah, so now we're at the point where there are no running backs I'm going to draft here. This is never going to happen. This is like a dead zone for running backs. I know there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh, David Montgomery in the 5th round, that's crazy value, but I'm just not drafting him. So I'm going to go another wide receiver. I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson, who sleepered berries. But I think with Big Ben, he's a top 15, top 12 wide receiver. So
absolutely. And here's the thing, looking now, again, could I have taken a running back in round 3, waited on receiver? Because there's some still really good receivers who could match the production of the guys I got, Jefferson and Robinson. I'm going to take, thankfully you didn't get your boy, Scary Terry. I'm taking Terry McLaurin. A really nice set of 3 receivers. There's still some great receivers out there. Is there a running back worth taking? I mean, it would have to be David Montgomery or maybe Melvin Gordon. And I tried that in our middle round slot, or middle of the slot drafts earlier. I think I'd rather get the good value at receiver and just wait on running back again. And I already have my tight end. It's too early. I just don't need a quarterback at this point. I could take Kyler Murray, but I'll wait. And I'm going to go with the guy I think is going to have a huge season, DJ Chark.
Nice. Yeah, it was between Johnson and McLaurin for me there. And I agree with you. The running backs at this point, once you get that one, stud type running back, you're better off just waiting at running back because there's so many good wide receivers. Like I'm going to take Robert Woods right here, another guy who's, just a top 15, top 20 wide receiver every single week. And with Matthew Stafford, I think that's not going to change at all. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me ask you now, both of us at this point have 1 running back, 1 tight end, 4 receivers. A lot of people look and say, well, why do you need a 4th receiver who you may or may not start depending on your format, right? There's some leagues that only have 1 flex, all right? And why would you want a 4th really good wide receiver instead of a really good 2nd running back? So what's your argument against that?
Again, it just comes down to which player do I think is going to be better? Taking one of those running backs there like Melvin Gordon or David Montgomery, who I really don't think is going to be they're not going to be that good, or a guy like Robert Woods, who's a stud. Look, injuries happen in fantasy football. You need depth, right? Unless you're in a league, where you only need to start maybe 2 wide receivers. If you're any type of league where you start 3 to 4 wide receivers, especially leagues with flexes, because you got to think it's very hard to have 3. If your league starts 2 running backs, it's hard to have 2 running backs worth starting plus a running back worth flexing, right? Because there's just not that many valuable running backs throughout the course of the season. Whereas if you have, 3 or 4 stud wide receivers and you can flex 1 or 2 of those stud wide receivers, you're going to have a big advantage over the rest of your league, assuming you have 2, decent running backs. That's why I really like the take the 1 really good running back early strategy and then wait and then try to hit on one of those other guys as an RB2. So I'm going to wait. I'm actually going to. So the quarterback, I'm not really enjoying the quarterbacks that are left on the board except for one guy, and that's Josh Allen. So I'm going to grab him now before the quarterbacks are gone.
All right. And yeah, following up what you were saying, if you have two flex spots, I have no problem keeping receivers there all season long. You got really high floor guys, also guys that could, step up and have huge breakout seasons, as opposed to running backs, which you don't know where you're getting from week to week. Why not stream, the second running back position or mix and match guys based on matchup?
Yep.
That seems to be the smarter move. So at this point, though, I'm not going receiver again. Looking at the running back depth, there is none. Like absolutely none. When I see guys like Philip Lindsay and Tevin Coleman on the board, I know I can wait. So let me look at quarterback, and you know what? It's kind of thin here at quarterback too, to be honest. But I like Justin Herbert. I'm okay taking him here. I'll go with that. And then, who am I going to take? Am I going to take a fifth receiver, or do I take another running back? Well, I think I can probably wait on a receiver, so I'm just going to take the best running back available. Guy that you like a lot, so I know I probably sniped you here, and that's Ronald Jones, who I knew you wanted.
Yeah, you did just snipe me. I was hoping he'd make it back. I thought about taking him over Josh Allen, but then I don't know if Josh Allen would have made it back. So, all right, so now there's really no running backs I like. So I probably will just keep going at wide receiver here. And I'm going to take the other Steeler receiver, Chase Claypool.
Nice pick. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these rookies at running back are kind of buried down here in the depth because of the rankings, because we don't know where they're going to play as of yet. They're going to shoot up once they have a landing spot right after the NFL draft. So some of those other running backs that we've seen taken already are going to fall a little bit, right? A guy like Kareem Hunt won't be quite as, interesting a name. Maybe Leonard Fournette, depending on where he's playing next year. So I think there'll be better values, come May and June than there are now.
Yeah, and here's another receiver. Again, I'm just going to load up on wide receiver because, again, there's no running backs I really like here. And that's CeeDee Lamb, who probably won't be this far in most drafts. Probably won't fall this far in most drafts. So.
All right, so since I have two picks here, I'm going to go with one of those rookie running backs. The guy I think has the highest ceiling right now is Michael Carter. We did talk about him on our rookie running back rankings. You can see where we like him in terms of overall talent, not knowing the landing spot. Let's go receiver again. A guy I cannot believe keeps falling. I know this is sleepers rankings, but still, I think is massively overlooked and slept on, even in the early best ball drafts I'm doing. Deebo Samuel. Did we forget how excited we were about him a year ago just because he was hurt? If he's healthy, I'm all over him.
Yeah, for sure. He's a huge value. And again, looking at these running backs, just nothing. Just nothing. I don't even have a wide receiver 2 yet. A running back 2 yet, and I'm actually okay with that. And now I'm going to go... Is Tyler Boyd still available? No. Well, I didn't get my guy Cortland Sutton, but I'm going to go with his teammate Jerry Jeudy, who I think is going to have a nice second year.
Yeah, definitely undervalued for sure. Notice that once we've done enough of these mocks, which we have been, like I said, every single week, Tuesday and Thursday, we get to know the rankings here in the system. We know who's undervalued. Chris, you already know, right, which is a guy who just always falls, and it's ridiculous, but there's some receivers here that will not be available at this point in a real draft.
Sure. And now I'm going to finally take my RB2, and that's Chase Edmonds, who as of right now is the starting running back in Arizona. I don't know if it will be by the time season rolls around, but he's a starting running back right now, and I'll take my chances in the 11th round.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think Kenyon Drake will be back necessarily, but we'll see. All right, so you left him for me. I'm going to take a guy I was hinting at. That's T. Higgins. That's my 6th receiver, which is insane.
That's ridiculous.
Again, we'll see, but... And then I've got to take a chance. Out of all the running backs that are left, now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a guy I like, and that's Damian Harris.
I don't know why you like Damian Harris so much, but you do.
I just he's a stud.
He's a stud, but he doesn't catch the ball. So
yeah,
I'm going to draft another running back who doesn't catch the ball, and I'm going to hope he lands in a good spot, and that's Chuba Hubbard.
There you go. Well, other name that was available was AJ Dillon. I know he's not going to be catching the ball, and we don't even know if he'll be the starter. So I'd rather have a guy I know is going to get more time. All right. Well, that wraps it up. So thoughts on drafting late? Basically, you don't want to have to do it if you have a choice, right? Because not just for the first round, but just you have to wait so long, and it really limits your options.
Well, definitely drafting early is where you want to be. You want to get one of those top stud running backs. And then then you have a lot of options from there. You can take another running back, or you can focus on, wide receivers, tight end, whatever you want to do. So definitely drafting early is always nice.
Yeah, and you've seen, there's just so many just steep cliffs fall off in value, within the tiers, especially at running back. So if you do wait on running back, like we each did, not taking double running back to begin with in that late position, then you might as well keep waiting, because the value that's going to be there is still at other positions. I like really personally taking a tight end there at the end, because most people won't take a guy like Kelsey or Kittle with a top 10 pick, but he's still a first round value. So that's, to me, if I do get stuck with 11 or 12 pick, I'm probably going to take Kelsey every time I can. All right, we already talked about it, but if you want to check out our strategy and some of our picks from the early slots and the middle slots of the draft, and we do this to help you get an understanding of what the ADP is going to look like right now before the NFL draft, and then we'll see how it changes after the NFL draft. Again, doing this all season long. Join us. We're going to be live streaming on YouTube, and join us in the Endgame community and get to know some of your fellow drafters so we can help dominate and win in 2021. All right, thanks for watching.